So, good evening, everyone. Once more, Maazi Ezeoke here speaking to us. Sorry about this, that it has to take this long. Bear in mind, my guest this evening is in Japan. So, because of the time difference, we have 8 hours difference. We have 8 hours time difference. Hence, we had some, issues with time, but now we're all good. So this evening, I will be having Mr. Ikenna Nweke, and Ikenna will be joining me live from Japan. As usual, with the customer with this channel, I would want to know where you are watching us from. If you can tell us where you're watching us from, we will eventually bring you in. If you're still awake, we will, if you want to ask him questions, if there are any questions that you want to ask him, you could do that. At this moment in time, I am bringing my guest this evening, Mr. Ikenna Nweke. Now, Ikenna Nweke, you are welcome to Njenje Media TV.
Thank you for having me.
So to start with, obviously we scheduled this for 8 o'clock, but obviously, as we have said, it's nature, things came up, and obviously we overshot with time, but nonetheless, here we are. The final point is that we are here and that we are live. So, Ikenna, you've been in the news in the last couple of days. Some people are shared that in one of my WhatsApp groups. Someone said, "Oh, Ikenna is now a celebrity." I said, "Well, it's good to be a celebrity on the good side of history, as opposed to the other side." Having said that, I mean, this is an informal conversation to get to know you and to get to actually understand what makes you tick. Now, can we start with Ikenna? May I know where you come from, what you do in Japan, and a little bit about you? I checked. I found out you attended comprehensive secondary school Onitsha.
Yes.
And that is what we call Compi.
Yes.
Because I'm a product of Our Ladies High School.
Oh.
At the time of Mr. Chukura as the principal.
Yes.
So I had friends who a very good brother, Charles Akudolu, who was your mathematics teacher then. I think that was in the 90s. I don't know when you left there, but a very long time here. So can you tell us, how was your childhood? Where were you born? How did you grow up? And yeah.
Okay. Thank you for having me on the show, and I have to also apologize to our viewers for the time. The time we started, because we were supposed, as you already stated. So my name again is Ikenna Steve Nweke. I was born in Okpoko, in Onitsha, Anambra State. I've always said that my father was a truck pusher. My mother was a petty trader. She was selling yam in those years. And I attended the comprehensive primary school Okpoko, and then comprehensive secondary school Onitsha. And then I did a diploma program in Enugu State University of Science and Technology. And then I also attended the Institute of Journalism, Management and Continuing Education in Enugu. Then I started teaching in high school, and then I worked briefly as a journalist before I got scholarship to come to Japan in 2013. I'm from Amozari in Imo State. It is in Anambra local government area.
Okay. So you said you attended the comprehensive primary school.
Yes.
Is that the one? But comprehensive primary school is the one close to Inamelwe, is it?
No, those ones are community primary school.
Oh, community primary school. Okay.
Yes.
So,
yes.
well, can you? I'm just trying to, because when you said Okpoko, I mean, I know that area very well, so I'm just trying to do a mental. Can you remind me? Community comprehensive. Where is that again?
It is inside Okpoko. It is close to
By Nkotako.
By Nkotako, exactly. Okpoko, and then if you are going to Nkotako, it's close to Nkotako, but not really in Nkotako. It's inside Okpoko. but almost at the borders between Okpoko and Nkutaku.
Okay. So it would be fair to say that Ikenna, you were not born with a golden spoon. Is that correct?
I was not born with any spoon at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were not born with any spoon.
Yeah.
You were just born, and that's you. That's the way you roll.
Exactly.
Okay. So yeah, it's good to know. You said your mom used to sell yam, and your dad, as they call it, today, not many people want to engage, in meaningful employment because some people see it as something degrading. But what I'm saying, why I'm picking on all these is that then I look at your background where you say you were not born with a spoon at all.
Yes.
And being the son of a truck pusher, as you said, and your mom someone who sells yam, is that at Mogambo or at Ochanja where?
Yeah, first at Ochanja and then later at Headbridge.
Okay, Headbridge. Okay. So someone from that background, but how was it growing up? I mean, on each other. I don't know if you're one of those that went to Idemili to also swim.
Actually, I growing up was fun. You know, my father was a very strict disciplinarian, so I thought he was a very wicked man. You know, but then at some point I got to understand why he was doing what he was doing, because we lived in an environment where a lot of young people, engaged in crime. So apparently he didn't want his own kids to do the same. So he started by instilling what I would call fear in us. So we didn't have money, but we were really, really, comfortable, and it was a very good Christian family. So about your question about attending, going to Idemili, no, I didn't go. But I must admit that I once visited. I didn't swim, but this one was. I don't know if it's still in existence. It was at that time called Iyobono.
Iyobono. Okay, that's far. So you didn't swim Sakamori.
No. My father never allowed us. No. But when he died in 1996, so then I had liberty to do some of those things, but because of the way I think I was brought up to really see people who go there as bad people. So I think it really affected me getting adventurous after my father's exit.
Yeah. I remember growing up in Onitsha. Then we used to swim River Niger. Sometimes, because River Niger is being overgrown by weed, and you have a lot of sand at the middle. So sometimes you swim at the middle, you stand up, you rest, then you swim across the river. Then, and sometimes you do them, you come back. We go and tie some leaves in order for them not to flog you.
Yes.
But you still come back, they will flog the shaggy out of you.
It's true. You really captured it.
So growing up in Onitsha was fun. It was fun. I must note it was fun. Now, okay, you said you did your diploma in Enugu, right? ESUT.
Yes.
You did journalism.
No, for the diploma, it was public administration.
Okay, public admin.
Yeah.
So then after that, what happened then?
After that, I started the advanced diploma, which I didn't round off because in the middle of the program, I discovered that apparently the program was not, accredited. So I decided to quit. Yeah.
Okay. So you said you left to Japan in 2013?
Yes.
2013. Okay,
Yes.
that's recent. Okay, and you got a scholarship. How did all that happen? From nowhere, you suddenly got a scholarship. How did who was your godfather?
Okay, let me take you a little bit further before the scholarship. came up. So I wanted. There was a friend of mine who visited me from Futo. I was living in Enugu at that time. I was living in, I don't know if you know Ugwaji area.
Mm-hmm.
So I was living there, then he visited me, and we got fed up with studying in Nigeria. But we were very poor. We lived in Okpoko, so we decided to study abroad. And then when we decided, because we didn't like the quality of education we were getting in those schools, we believed that we deserved more. So I started applying to study abroad. So the first place I got admission was in Russia, Voronezh State University. But there was no money, and the tuition fee at that time was $1,800. But even when I told my mom I wanted to study abroad, she didn't believe me. Nobody believed me. Then I started. Then again, I applied. I got Cyprus. It was really expensive for me. Then I kept on applying for scholarship. And then
So
eventually,
how do you know where to apply? Were you using internet then, or you just yeah?
that was in the era of all night browsing.
Okay.
All
So
night
you're
browsing.
basically browsing scholarship. Just it
Yes,
doesn't matter which country,
yes,
which continent.
yes. Again, I used findaschool.org. I was
Okay.
using it. Then I would use findaschool.org, and later I apply. I subscribed to scholarship position online. Then I got here because a friend of mine got scholarship and then came here, and then he sent me the link and said you can apply. Then I applied. The first year I didn't apply because my wife had a new baby. Then the second year I applied. That was in 2012. I applied, and then I got screened, got interviewed through Skype by two professors, and then we were many that applied. Probably about 1,000 people applied.
Wow.
And then we were only 20, I think 21 in my program that were selected.
Okay.
So,
Wow. That's an interesting story. So basically, obviously, and one of the things I want viewers to take out from this interview is that consistency matters.
yeah.
Because when you say it now, we have people with telephones browsing, just some of them, basically wanting for their uncles and their aunties to do everything for them. They have internet in their hands and they couldn't use it. They just use it to post pictures and, do stuffs on Instagram. I'm not saying that Instagram is right, but I think priority matters if you set your priority right. So as you rightly said, that was a time of night browsing. I mean,
Yeah.
people never forget that. It was like going to night vigil.
Yes, you captured it. Yeah, exactly.
Just like going to night vigil, but just to browse to use the internet. Now, the
Yeah.
same internet that people used to go for night browsing is now, as per your
Let's start with
subscription. It
you.
doesn't matter when you want to use it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you started when you got into Japan in 2013. So you came in to study what?
I studied international studies, kind of political science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. International studies. Is that a combined major or
It's a combined.
but that was that at a PhD level at that time? Or
No,
undergraduate level?
I started from undergraduate again.
Okay.
So it was supposed to be a 4-year program,
Mm-hmm.
but the school has a rule that if you get certain number of A's, then you can graduate earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I was privileged, to have gotten more than the required number of A's. Then I didn't do 3 years again, 4 years. I did 3.5.
Okay.
And then I moved to masters in the same university.
Okay.
The scholarship I used for my undergraduate was called Global 30 Scholarship, which was a program initiated by the Japanese government.
Mm-hmm.
Then for my master's, I became a Rotary Fellow. I got Rotary Scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm doing my PhD.
Okay. Wow. Basically, and that was done in a space of how many years? 2013 to when
in master's too.
Yeah, in
From
5 years.
5 years exactly.
Wow, that's extraordinary. So, how long did you study in English, or did you study, or you studying in Japan, in Japanese language?
I study in English. It's an English program.
Okay,
So
it's an English program.
global
So how do
therapy
you,
program is basically English program.
okay, so how do you cope with the local language?
I speak a little. I can survive.
Oh, okay. So
I can
so
survive.
so it means Japan is an English speaking, basically. I know they speak Japanese, but so that means you can actually survive without knowing the local language.
It's difficult, so you have to learn the language. So I can speak the language. I can survive with the level of Japanese skills I have.
Okay. I can see from your profile that you are also a radio presenter.
It was a brief job I had. That was intern.
Okay.
And after the intern, I worked as an intern. And after that, I worked briefly. And then I went back to.
Okay. Was the radio you were presenting, the program you were presenting, was that in English or in Japanese?
In English, and sometimes I would chip in some Japanese words because I was working with somebody who, would always translate. I was basically presenting about Africa.
Oh, okay. So now, how is Japan? How do you find Japan generally?
I find Japan as it's a very interesting country. Uh, the people are really hardworking. It is one of the most advanced, technologically advanced countries in the world. It's one of the richest countries in the world. It's number 30. The economy is third. It's one of the. It is one of for me. Japan is an amazing country. You it's a confluence of cultures. Asian culture mixing with European culture,
Okay.
Western culture. So I think basically the Japanese people, if I should make a comparison, it's a closed society. Then with minor significant influence of the West from the West.
Mm.
So people are hardworking, and it has a responsive government.
Okay. So, and again, let's come back. Let's come to the meat of the story. The story has it at the beginning of the month that you picked up a wallet filled with money. Can you tell the world what actually happened?
So that day, I went to the university because, because of the coronavirus, everything is done online.
Mm.
So we were not allowed to go to the office. So that was the very week we were allowed to visit the office. So you can work from the office and stuff like that. So I went to school. I was coming back. My wife likes kebab very well, so I decided to buy her a surprise. So I was climbing the staircase, and I saw this. It was not, our traditional wallet. It's like a big purse. I'm sure the picture is circulated on the internet. So I picked it up, and
Is it? Oh, sorry. How would you? Because I don't think I have seen the picture. How would you describe it? Just like a lady's purse.
it looks like a lady's purse.
Okay.
That's a little bit big, but then fashioned in the mold of man's, purse. But it's probably a
Is
lady.
that this type of purse people use, in Nigeria that they sometimes hold here?
Yeah,
That
exactly,
big, like, okay,
exactly. So
okay,
when I picked it up, when I saw it, first I took a picture of it. I wanted to show my wife, but we always do that. Like if you see something, you can say, "I saw this baby." Then I opened it. Then for me, it became a serious thing. Like this is something that somebody must be looking for. So the money and the whole money is in 10,000 yen denomination
So how much is 10,000 yen?
in naira.
No, well, naira. Okay. In dollars, please.
10,000 here is about $100.
Okay, so let's say the money is in $100.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how much is it when you counted it?
I didn't count. There was no
But
time to
police
count.
probably counted and told you how much it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, the police didn't tell me specifically, but I saw them. They were writing because it also contained the foreign currency, but not as huge as in the yen. I think euro, maybe
Okay.
few euros, and then so what the police will do, they will write everything they picked. This is how many cards, this. So, but I think when I saw the money, because if you know Japan, every train station there is a police station.
Mm-hmm.
At every train station, there's a police station. So it happened. That Tsukuba Center is the heart of Tsukuba, which is the science city of Japan, and it has a train station. So I quickly ran to the police station.
Okay.
So,
And there are cameras everywhere anyway.
no, that I've seen people say that. I've read. I've been strolling the internet. I see several comments about me. Some people blamed me for not taking the money. Some said, he didn't take the money because he was rich. Some people say he didn't take the money because of camera, but that is not true. People lose stuff in Japan and they don't get it back. So, and by the way, camera or no camera doesn't stop a criminal from act. That's why we have people in prison today. You see, so if I had taken that money, trust me, nobody would have seen me. Trust me. I live in Tsukuba. Nobody would have seen me, because the thing is this: the person who lost the wallet, it happened on the road, so you don't know particularly where you left it. I've lost my wallet or my stuff.
Oh, it's not, sorry, it's not at the place you went to buy kebab, but on
No,
the
it's
road.
not in the place. I was trying to ascend the staircase. So it's not at the shop. That is what people don't know. So if I taken the money, trust me, nobody would have seen me, because the owner wouldn't even know where it happened. Yeah. So I gave it to the police, and they unzipped the bag, the purse, and then they looked at me. So if you are an African, if you're Nigerian in Japan, you would understand this because of the record.
He looked.
Yeah. So he opened it, and then he asked me. He spoke in Japanese. He said, like, doshita no, that's why, like, kind of, why didn't you take the money? Kind of.
Why
That's
would he
why.
take it?
So that was how I my interpretation to what he said. And I said there was no need for that. I used that word in English. I said there was no need for that. And then he called his colleague. And then
He was even shocked.
He was shocked. So they started counting, bringing everything, and they would look at me. To be honest with you, they might think I had taken some money out. I'm not sure, but then they counted, recorded everything. Then they asked for my residence card. Then I gave them my residence card. They took every information about me, and then they started telling me that this is the law in Japan, that if you pick up something and the owner fails to come back after 3 months, that thing will become yours. That's Japanese law. And then if it's money, you are entitled to 10%. That's Japanese law too. So they told me about these laws, which I was already aware of. And I told them there was no need for that. So they sensed that my Japanese was not fantastic. So they were thinking maybe he didn't understand what we were saying. And then they asked me, do you have anybody who can speak Japanese very well? Who can then
go and call your children. I reckon your children speak better Japanese than you.
They speak better Japanese. But this is if I had called the family, if I had called them, they are kids. They might not even be aware of the law or how to, these are technical terms, Then I spoke with my pastor, who lives in a very far prefecture, Saitama. He had lived here for about 20-something years.
Wow.
Then he called them. Then I gave him phone, and then they spoke to him. He explained to me, this is what they said. They said, you picked money. I said, yes, sir. He said, okay. He spoke to them again. They said, you brought the money, and this is your right. I said, but tell them I don't need it. Then he told them, and they said, why? I said, I'm more concerned about the owner of the money than the offer, because The owner, I'm sure, as we are talking, might be crying because this is not a little money. So I'm more concerned. They said, okay. Then they wanted to be sure because I might go change my mind again and come back and said, I picked something. They asked the man again that he should ask me exactly why I don't want to take the money so that they will maybe apparently, probably record it. And the man said he cannot take it. I know him very well, so don't bother. So, and then the man started talking to him. I wish people could contact him, himself. Then the man started talking to him. The man said, not every Nigerian behaves this way. There are, the man was trying to explain to them that there was no way I could have taken the money. So that was when they let me go. Then I left. I didn't even buy the kebab again. I went home. So when I got home, I told my wife, baby, look at what happened today. And then, we were worried. And then after 2 days or 3 days, I got a call from a number, that is not saved on my cell phone. So the person introduced himself as the person who lost the wallets. And the person was shocked to hear that I'm an African, I'm a Nigerian. Because this is like big news. Like a Nigerian in Japan finds something and returns it. Of course, we have wonderful people here.
So basically, everyone is shocked that a goat cannot eat
a yam. Exactly. So, but this I think this is a wrong perception they have. It's not true.
That's what I say, perception.
Yeah, there are amazing Nigerians I've met here. Very fantastic people who would have done exactly what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And in our place we say that when one finger touches the oil, it spreads to the rest. Exactly. So it's not as if that they are right, but if you go to Google and just type Nigerians in Japan, you'll be amazed to see stories about Nigerians. People being warned never to visit Nigeria bars because they would freeze your credit card and stuff,
Really?
So yeah, you can a quick Google search with convince you. So this is the image. So and to be honest with you, I've seen the credit card. If I were a bad guy, that night, but it happened at the night. I'm not sure he would call the credit card company to lock it that moment. So I would have done something sinister with the credit card too.
Yeah. But it's not in your character.
I wouldn't have done that. There was no way I would have done that. Yeah.
Wow, that's indeed a very fantastic, story. Anyway, so when you returned the card, do you, by the records the police said, do you know approximately how much total was in that?
From the owner of the credit card, the wallets.
The wallet, yeah.
I think the credit card is worth 200 million yen.
200 million.
Yeah, which in naira, I don't know any dollars, but in naira could be about 750 million naira.
Sorry, 750 million naira.
Yes, the credit card.
Wow.
So I've seen some people, say you're a fool. People who live here. If I had gotten the credit card,
what would you have done with it anyway? You just to spend somebody's else money.
I mean, like it's nothing. I mean, humanity entails. I have conscience, and this is the way I'm a man who is very contented with what the little he has in life. I'm very grateful that that God has brought me this far, because like you already know where I'm coming from now, from Okpoko, and I'm doing PhD in.
So I have just done a quick conversion. So that's giving you about $1.6 million.
I see. And again, if you look, and the money apparently could be in similar religion, it could be, because now the man was really crying because he told me he bought a new house in the city. He just moved in. He was living in Tokyo where he was working. And now himself and his wife decided to move into a more quiet place, because if Tokyo is Turkey is crazy, very, very crazy city, you know. So they wanted a quiet life, you know, green city and stuff like that. Very nice environment, quite serene. Then they bought a house here. So they didn't know much about here. And then this happened to them. So it was a huge shock. But again, knowing that it was recovered by somebody they never thought would see it and then return it. You know, I think one thing I have done is I've changed their perception.
Yes.
So if they see anybody accused of doing something bad in Nigerian,
They would always remember the
you know,
results.
yeah, they might say, let's ask him very well. Let's not assume he did it.
Because you know, one thing is it is always, you know, sometimes I read some of the comments some of us write online. We tend to blame the government on every strata, on every single thing, especially those in the diaspora. Government done this, government done that. Now, it's not your government most times that damages the image of the country. You know, it is the individuals. We've seen, you know, I mean, you saw it in the news, police raiding, you know, I wouldn't mention names, but I mean, you and I know in Dubai, someone the Interpol just arrested recently for doing what? For flexing, you know, showing up, showing mansions and showing up the things they've accumulated. And people actually knew and people know what they do most times, but everyone is just kind of, you know, trying to identify with them. No, I think equally one of the reasons why I decided to invite you to this show is equally um, if we are frowning at ill-gotten wealth, then we must promote the other side of life as well. So one of the things, the reason why I'm happy that you agreed to come and share these stories with us is it's not about just coming up and saying this, that, the other one, but let us promote a narrative that we are a great people. You are from, you know, because everybody's saying this. Oboko, is even a more slummer area than Ajegule.
Yeah, it's true.
My dad owns a house in Oboko, so I is a place I know very well.
Yeah.
So it's a more slummer.
Yeah.
Last week, I was trying to do a Google image search of Oboduku Road because my staff reported on Oboduku Road on it, you know, the way the road is a no-go area. That road, for people that know, leads into Oboko.
Yeah.
And on doing the Google search, you know, something that struck me was having an area view of Oboko, and all the zinc is like just brown. I'm like, I mean, for the first time, I've, you know, the mental image. And this is someone who came up from this place and imagine 750 million naira. You know, somebody's, boy, don't have the guy don't. I think there is a new phrase that they use now in the Igbo nation, which they call Nibutegi Ike. Nibutegi Ike. Then, you know, and honestly, it's quite commendable. Then, at what point did the Nigeria, what's it called, the presidency, the Nigerian president, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, at what point did they get involved? Did they ever call you?
I think what happened, you know, after the incident went viral, I didn't want to. Let me just say it again. I didn't want to make that post, but as you alluded, it happened at a time when Nigeria image had been battered by the Dubai incident. And if you know, before the Dubai incident, we also had one Invictus Obi who had pleaded guilty. Yes, and again that same week, 6 other Nigerians were declared wanted by FBI.
Yes, in America, that's correct.
Exactly. So this whole incident, you know, painted the nation in a very bad light. So I have my non-Nigerian friends, I don't want to mention their countries, they started making posts and tagging me like, hey, you can come and see your brother. So you can, hey, this. your brother. When we Nigerians learn, they will tag me. I felt bad.
Sorry, who were doing that? Were they Japanese?
No. They were Africans from other
Okay.
African countries, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A Japanese wouldn't do that. So I felt offended because these people, they know me personally. So why would they do this? Then I posted this experience with the letter, with the pulse and everything. Then it went viral. And then somebody said, can I do this story? The person actually did the story and then needed some information from me, like, you know, my town and stuff. And I said, okay, you can take my town and, you know, everything. And then that was how the story went viral.
So did the government contact you? That's my question is, did the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, NITCOM, did they get in touch with you?
The Nigerian government, first I got a letter from the Embassy of Nigeria in Japan, in Tokyo. A letter they dispatched this. It was written by on behalf of the ambassador, who in the letter said he was writing on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria. And then they sent me the letter, which I have a copy of. You know. And then the honorable chairman of and CEO of Nigerian Diaspora Commission, Honorable Ikenna Nweke, she also, you know, made a press release to that effect. And the president also did that.
Yes, but my question again, sorry, but I have to, that's where my journalistic instinct kicks in. I need to get back to this again. Well, they made a statement. You got a letter from the Nigerian High Commission. Did Abike Dabiri or any other person, did they make direct contact with you?
So about 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, one person from NITCOM, a staff, called me. He wrote me a message. He said, "We are working on you from Nigeria, Abuja. We are working on you, and I have been assigned to do this. So to write on you. So I want you to, you know, ask me to give me some information about you. We've gone through your webpage, your Facebook page. You know, we do not. There are some information we might need that we've not, you know, gotten." So I said, okay. Then he asked few questions, and to which I responded to, and then he left. So, but let me go straight to your question now. I have not received any direct call, but I have been informed that particularly Honorable Abike Dabiri, you know, that she was looking for my number, and I'm sure she has it now because I asked those, you know, who could give her my number to do that.
So, but she hasn't made any contact.
No, she has not contacted me directly, not even the president. Yeah.
Okay, because we have seen, I mean, I'm just trying to pull up something here. We've seen several people, you know, write about you. I've seen what's it called, Arume Ote.
Yes.
Yeah, Arume Ote actually wrote about, you know, thanking you. And who else? Actually, I think there are a couple of them that have done that. Emeka Ihedioha, I think, the former governor.
And on the Osta Chidoka.
Osta Chidoka. Okay. So let me see if I can pull up. Where's Arume Ote? I think. Let me pull up Emeka Ihedioha here. And this is what Emeka Ihedioha wrote. Let me see if I can quickly read that. It says, "I commend Mr. Ikenna Nweke, an indigene of Isialambano, Imo State. Mr. Nweke is a PhD student and a teaching assistant at the University of Tukuba." You know, I've learned that now. I'm good at language, so I learned that from you now. So the funny thing about Japanese, it sounds like Igbo sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
It sounds like Igbo. Sometimes I hear names like Chuku, you
know,
but the only thing is that they use T.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mr. Nweke picked up a wallet containing a huge sum, undisclosed sum, including credit cards. He took the wallet and its contents to the police. He even rejected the 10 rejected the statutory 10% of the money due to him for return. Then he continued. Now the question, if I come back here, some people at the comment section are asking questions. I'll put one of their comments here. Mr. Edmond Dokafo says, why did you refuse your 10%? Don't you think that refusing your title, refusing your, what I presume is entitled, is many way from the far away from from the right thing. Well, let me put it this way. I think what he's trying to say is that you're refusing what you are entitled to. In Christendom, we can say people pay tithe. Now you've earned your tithe and you rejected your tithe. Can someone say you wouldn't make a good pastor?
Well, I think I would make a perfect pastor who understands that God is a God of justice.
Yes.
You know. So
but equally, God is a God of law. There is a law that says if you return it, which you did, 10% is, that's 7.5 million.
Yeah, I know, but if you look at it from a very broader perspective, the person who lost his or her money did not set out to lose that money. It happened by chance. And if we are humans, if we have humanity in us, which has to do with love for one another, caring for one another, and then if you pick something that belongs to another person, love entails that you return it to the person. So law comes in because when there is no love, because somebody would hurt another person, somebody would go against the societal norms, somebody would do something bad that he has to be punished. So if everybody is doing what is right, that if love, love covers a lot. So if there is love, and again, I want people to understand this. For me, as a human being, my wife can always attest to this. I believe very, very well that I came into this world with nothing, and that I will leave this world
with nothing as well.
This is my philosophy. So I'm conscious of this. So there was a time I told my wife that I don't want to build a house for my children to, and I still maintain that. So what I want to do is to be able to have everything it takes to raise my kids, have everything it takes to be able to train them to any length, any level in life. But I do not think I should build houses for them in Japan, in Canada, in London, in Nigeria. Come on, they would end up being useless. So because I understand that I will leave this world with nothing, I am more concerned about how I live my life than what I can get out of life.
That's good. Now I have this tweet from Arumaote where she says, celebrating Ikenna Nweke, a Nigerian of integrity. I am glad he explained that it is the culture of Nigerians to do good without seeking reward. As I said on Friday, Nigeria has many people of integrity. We should not allow the few bad eggs to undermine the nation. Did she reach out to you?
She started following me on Facebook, on Twitter. I mean, like, it's kind of, I think I saw her following me on Twitter, and I was like, wow. But she has not, gotten in touch with me. But I think this is, for me, this is more than,
You see, if you had involved yourself with, Ibutike, there are people who wouldn't follow you on Twitter.
It's true.
If you were one of those Njenje Boutique, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because there are things I want to associate myself to, and there are brands. No matter what, I won't even touch them with a pole. So you can see that now. And here you have Omar Bai. Did you read his tweet where he said, our enemies cannot define us as criminals? That is very powerful, that our enemies cannot define us as criminals. This is a Nigerian, Ikenna Nweke, the PhD student in Japan who returned large amount of money to Oh, I think he
Japanese,
meant
yeah.
Japanese police,
Yeah.
but he said German. But yeah,
Yeah.
we are not dishonest people. The Invictus and the hush puppies and hush papas and hush magus of this world do not define or describe us. Well, that is a very fantastic one again.
Yeah.
Um, but apart from the government, do you have calls from well-meaning Nigerians from Japan or Nigeria, or within Nigeria as well?
Honestly, I have received calls from all over the world.
Wow.
So part of why I don't sleep these days is because of this, because some of them don't know the time
Yeah,
difference.
the time difference.
So I always keep awake to attend to people. Yesterday, I received 2 calls from London, and one of them was somebody who tweeted about me, and then I said thank you for this, and then the person said, "Oh, let's get in touch, let's talk," and then he was really a nice guy from River State, from Niger Delta. So a lot of people have reached out to me. People, my community has celebrated me more than enough.
Wow, you see?
The traditional ruler of my town sent me a private message.
So
And
they will give you chieftaincy title very soon.
yeah, they said they would induct me into the Hall of Fame of my community, which is the highest honor in the land.
And you're not paying for it,
No,
because
no, no.
it is your integrity that is getting you that.
Exactly.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine for 1 second if, I know it's not in your character, but imagine for 1 second all the good things that's been happening, people you didn't know, you couldn't meet. Imagine now you see Dangote one time and you are talking and he says, "Oh, this is this man." You see, automatically he would be willing to engage that individual because he knows. Now imagine Arumote. I mean, it's one of the few ladies I admire
Yeah.
that worked in Nigeria. I saw, there was a video recorded about a couple of years back when she was arguing with the National Assembly. And you can see the things she said. I mean, there are things, people you see, you think, I mean, I never knew you still have some such people. But again, the system is so skewed against that their voices are being drowned. Now, can you imagine for 1 second you find out, if that money was taken and that individual eventually was caught, how he would have now added to the bad
Yeah,
image already,
exactly.
the bad narrative.
Exactly.
And some people have been saying here, I don't know your stand about the state of Nigeria, Biafra, and whatever, and the Igbo nation, but people have been saying this is not the way Nigerians act, this is where Igbo, and this is the way Biafrans act. What do you have to say to that?
Let me even take it a little bit further. I
Yes.
went to BBC,
Yes.
my story is on BBC, so I saw people from other African countries saying he's not a Nigerian. A Nigerian can never do this.
So meaning you're Onyibo, that's why you're able to do it.
No, some are saying he's either one of his parents is from another African country. So I saw it on my Joy I think Joy Online, Ghanaian national dailies.
Okay, yeah.
I saw similar things. I was like, what is going on? And I saw one person from northern Nigeria who says, "Oh, this guy was, even though he's Igbo, he was probably raised in the West or outside the Igbo." So the thing is this: crime has no ethnicity. It has no nationality. For me, crime is a language. So some people choose to speak that language. So, and some people choose to abhor that language. And I have chosen the language. Honesty too is also a language.
Exactly.
So, and not everybody
is a language.
The language speaks very loud. So, and I've chosen the path of honesty. And I don't want people to see that only Igbo people are honest. I think 2 days ago, I was on TVC Lagos. We had an interview. I had an interview with TVC Lagos. And one of the anchors, asked me it's kind of similar question. There is this misconception about Igbo people who live in Asia and other parts of the globe, that they are criminals and stuff. And I said, no, this is a very wrong stereotype. No, there are amazing people from Igbo land who are doing amazing things. And again, I am one of them. So if I'm Igbo, it means this is how an Igbo man should behave. Anybody who doesn't behave this way is not an Igbo. So I understand that we have a lot of challenges in the eastern part of Nigeria, which has led to people seeing things differently. But I really, really want to let you know that the perception about an Igbo man, especially coming from non-Igbos, is not really true. Some of them are misinformed. Some of them are out of ignorance. They don't, in a way, you don't understand the people. You try to describe them, shallowly, from a very shallow perspective. Yeah.
And, again, I can't emphasize this enough, because anyone who understands where you are coming from, I say it one time, growing to primary school without sandal, there is what we call okwani. I don't even know how to translate it.
Yeah.
So you see those waters that accumulate on the bad roads, on the potholes. Because of the road is so heated, then you go in there and you put your leg to just cool it down.
Yeah.
So these are the level of poverty some of us grew up with.
I did not wear sandals until I finished high school. Until I finished elementary school. No sandals. We call it 10 toes. I'm sure you remember 10 toes.
Yeah. And we used to carry our seats from the house.
Carry
it to school. And you bring it back every day. Those wooden chair that has a top layer and the lower layer. And someone asked me, why do you do that? And I was narrating. My children want to know, Daddy, why did you have to take it to school? You could have left it in school. I said to them, you wouldn't understand that if you left that chair in school, you come back the next day, you won't see it. So the only way you could guarantee yourself that your parents has, I think that those chairs were made out of pallet woods, those small listen. So you can imagine the only way you could secure that chair, make sure that you sit down and learn like others, is that you have to carry it on your head every day in the morning, and you carry it backwards. Now, understanding that environment, how someone from that environment could see something that others could think, well, it doesn't matter, and still return it, means it is something inherent, inbuilt in you. It cannot be changed. It cannot be changed. And that is what we say in Igbo, Ezeafa Kego. Good name is
better than riches.
Better than riches. You see? So like we keep saying, keep doing what you're doing. So when are you finishing your PhD?
I'm in my second year now.
Okay, and that's a 3-year program.
Yeah, 3-year program. So
you're a jumpologist now, so you normally skip class. You can as well do it in 2 years.
Honestly, for the past 2 weeks, I have not seen. I can't remember I don't think I still remember my dissertation title. Because of this incident, I've not looked at my thesis like this. So that is also kind of affecting me, but it's not in any ways. So technically, I should finish in 2022 March.
Okay. Well, that's okay. So if you finish in 2022, by this act, don't you think that there might be some jobs waiting for you, because people will be already offering you jobs?
Yeah, that is one possibility, but I like to do my things my way. Yeah, so I don't like to get on the bandwagon. So I am a man who I want to live a fulfilled life. So I was talking to my wife and my friends a couple of days ago. I said, I now know I'm living a fake life. There are a lot of things I cannot post on Facebook again. because of how people will react. There are comments, like I see people make nasty comments about me on Facebook. Like I don't know if I should read one for you.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me just get it.
Mm.
The person was practically insulting me for not taking the money. And the person said, the person called me a fool, said, we are suffering here, and your brothers are suffering here. You saw money and returned it. God will punish you. Let me just make sure. I want to ensure I read it the way the person put it. Okay. I wouldn't mention the person's name on Facebook, so I will just go straight to the point. The person says, even if I see an empty wallet, I won't return it to the owner. Thunder fire you because you are privileged. Do you know what we are passing through here? You saw wallet loaded with money and you return it while your brothers are dying here, dying of hunger. No job, no opportunity, no helper. I wish everyone were given equal opportunities in this wicked world. Nobody is born a criminal. Na condition make crayfish bend. Idiots.
Okay, now you can see from that comment where the underlying issue is. Because crime is been, it's been justified.
Yeah.
There is no longer that. That's why sometimes when I speak to people, they say they do nahana tuakuko, they do MAGA business. They will tell you that it's MAGA. Now, by the virtue of using that word MAGA, the criminal and the crime element appears to be suppressed. That they only see that evil act as business. Now, you look at what this young chap probably wrote.
Yeah.
That you're privileged. How? He doesn't know your story. He might even be more privileged than you are.
Of course.
He might even be.
Of course.
And saying again, there is no justification for crime.
There is. Can I come here?
When we started this interview, you narrated, and that's why I wanted you to say those things. You narrated how you had to do night browsing in order to get admission. That is called dedication. When I look at that, I liken it to while I was in, when I wanted to go to Germany to study. That was very long time ago, and others were doing what they were doing, but I wasn't. I had to go to Lagos to Goethe Institute to learn German language in order to travel. Now people tell you, "Oh, uncle, I want to go to Germany." You tell them, "Okay, these are the procedures." You say, "It's not an easy. Is that not an easier way?" How else do you make people sometimes online people think life is too easy, and that is why this narrative, your narrative, the type of narrative, the things you and I represent must be pushed into the front burner, because it appears it's been relegated to the back. I know growing up, if you make the mistake of coming back home with a pencil that is not yours,
woe betide you.
God forbid what my parents would do to you that day. But today I hear about testimonies of how children are being taken to exam centers and their parents are approaching the teachers. "I don't want my daughter to fail, or tell me how much it is." Some last week Saturday, in a conference we had, a teacher in Port Harcourt, I believe she's watching the show, said something that stunned me. A mother approached her, said, "You are Igbo?" She said, "Yes." They said, "Okay, tell me how much I will pay so that you just make sure this girl passes. She doesn't need to write the exam." And this is JS, I think she said JSS 3. And she turned to the mother and said, "The JSS 3, it amounts to nothing. You don't use the result for anything." Now you can imagine from that little what is going to happen. And this is coming from a mother to a daughter. One of the reasons your dad is no longer there, But one of the reasons why you couldn't take that which does not belong to you is because of what he had taught you when he was alive. Isn't it?
Exactly. It's true. It's true. It's true.
And this is something that we have to, pass to the next generation. Sometimes it appears we are losing the battle.
We
What do you
are. Obviously, we are losing the battle. Did you hear the story about a teacher whose daughter, a primary school teacher in Anambra State, whose son, who was less than 25, sent 500 million naira into her account? Did you hear that?
Yes.
The
And
son
she
was
did
living
not.
in Malaysia. And now, the thing is this. For every criminal, I'm not going to, generalize, but from my experience, my encounter with people, there are a lot of reasons why we are having this kind of scenario playing out in our society, especially in Igbo society now. One, we total breakdown of value system. We do not. Our emphasis is no longer on. We no longer emphasize on value, core values, humility, selflessness, contentment. So even if let me tell you a story. I came to Japan in 2013. So I was alone. My wife was still in Nigeria. So I had a lot of money because I was paid money by by my scholarship stipend. So I had a lot of money. So I came in September. In December, I sent money back home, about $1,200 at that time. My mother was mad at me. She started calling some people, my brother-in-law and people. She said, "How did you get this money?" I said, "It's my money." And she said, "You have joined bad people." I said, "No, I'm a student." They say, "How come?" Because their image of abroad is when you go, you have to wait for some months before you start getting something to do to get money. My mother never believed that somebody could be going to school and then be paid money. So they didn't touch the money until I was able to convince them that, no, I haven't changed. So I've seen people, they go abroad, your son lives abroad, he tells you he's a student, or he's doing not much, he's not doing much. And then he begins to send money. Why don't you ask questions? What do you do? What do you do abroad? What's your job? Again, you can see the churches. These guys come back home, they go to church and they do what they call Thanksgiving. And the church
They even
accommodates.
build the church now. You will
This is
see
the
the one
problem.
in what's it called, in Ekusigo. You can see them. They build churches.
And the church accommodates them. So now it has become something acceptable. So when I came here, I've seen people, since I came here, I've seen some friends, they will tell me, man, you've been there for so many years. Do you know this guy? He's in Malaysia. Oh, he's in Indonesia. He just went last year. If you see this guy, he came back this. If you see the car, he came back with. I said, I'm a scholar. I'm not competing with him. I'm a scholar. I'm a researcher.
Does he have what you have here?
You should ask me my publications. Ask me my publications, and
Exactly.
not money.
I
You
love
see.
that.
So they tell me, oh, this guy, if you see how he came back, if you see the car, if you see what he's building. Let me tell you, there was a man who approached me. This is my story. And he said, I want you to help my son to study in Japan, to come to Japan through studies. I said, that'll be fine. If you can go through the whole process of the interview. We agreed. They asked him to send me the son's WAEC results. The man gave his son money to go and bring the WAEC results. The son did not take the money. The son took the money, but never brought the WAEC results. At the end of the day, the man went to the school himself because I was saying, let me see the results. The man went to the school. And that was where it dawned on him that the son never took WAEC in the first place.
Oh, well.
That the son collected the WAEC money. It did not enroll. Then collected money from his father to bring the results.
He's
That was
even lucky that the son didn't go and forge one and bring to him.
Now the funny thing is that the man asked me, can he use his younger brother's results to apply? I said,
Jesus.
no, I'm not involved. That's not what I'm not can do that. About 7 months later, I got to know that the boy later went to Malaysia.
Now he might
And
be a big boy.
no, he is a big boy indeed now. The father is
Quote unquote.
exactly. The father is driving a Range Rover Sport. The father now, and the father lives in the son's house now. and they have a petrol station. So you can see the man didn't ask him, so how did you get this money? So you see why we are where we are today. So parents are accomplices to the crimes that kids commit. And then, again, and I want to say something. There is this misconception that we are doing this because of what the Europeans did to us. Who sent you? Did we have a village meeting and ask you to go and return what the Europeans steal?
No, the Asians are Europeans as well.
Even if you are doing it to only Europeans, was there any time we had Omonda meeting and we say you are the one that we go and rob these people for what they did to us? We didn't do that. So you are doing that not because you are inspired by history. You are doing that because you are inspired by the level of criminality embedded in your skull. It has nothing to do with history. Again, so I've had a lot of, let me say this, and I'm sure some people who are watching us might learn. I was in Tokyo and I met a woman with her daughter, and the daughter is half Japanese, half black. And the daughter started talking to me in English. I was responding, and the woman asked me where from. Fake, not good English. I said from Nigeria, and I don't want to say what she said again. Let me skip that one because it might tarnish the image of a certain ethnic nationality. And then she said, the moment she asked me Nigeria, I said yes. She left. She took her daughter. They left. I was embarrassed. The young girl was obviously talking to me in English, trying to learn English. Then after a while, I went to the couch where they were sitting again, and I asked the girl started talking to me, and I asked the woman why she left. She said, this girl's daughter, pointing at her daughter, this girl's father was a Nigerian. He came to Japan. He had nothing. We fell in love. My parents rejected me for trying to marry an African. Everybody hated me. I lost all my friends. But I loved him. I didn't mind them. The day this guy dumped me, he didn't remember the things I went through because of him. The moment he got his papers, he threw me away like a piece of wood. And then he said it was not only that his best friend who had leukemia was also duped by Nigerians. So the girl had leukemia. Her parents left some things for her. The girl met some people online, a guy online who was claiming to be an American soldier stationed in Afghanistan. And then they started chatting, exchanging calls and stuff. At a point, the guy said, "Okay, the American soldier in quotes said he was returning to America. He did went to America, and he did go to America, and then called him with American number. And then they kept calling until one day he told her he was going to Nigeria for a business trip. And when he went to Nigeria in quotes, he got an accident in quotes, and then lost everything he had. And then asked the Japanese woman to send her money so that she could do the business. She fleeced the lady of the total sum of about $300,000. And when the lady started talking to people about what happened, that was when they told her, no, this is a Nigerian prince. This is a Nigerian prince. These are scammers. And
is that what you people call them over there, Nigerian prince?
No, it's Google scores. If you go to Google, just type Nigerian prince. You'll be amazed. Go to Google, type Nigerian prince. So the girl started asking the guy to return his money. The guy blocked him. The girl jumped into a running train and then got crushed. She died. She committed suicide. So the lady told me, I will never forgive Nigerians. I brought out my ID card, my student card. I said, I'm a student in one of the leading universities here. I have a family here. I showed her my family picture on Facebook. I'm married to a Nigerian. We live here. I don't want to marry a Japanese lady. I'm a good person. Please don't judge me because of this person. At the end of the day, she said, yeah, you are a good person. But it doesn't still change the fact that Nigerians are bad people. So, you see. So this is real. So some of the guys who do this don't really understand what happens to the people we have done this to?
Well,
Do
they
they
just
survive?
everybody wants to flex, drive Mercedes, drive Range Rover. That's all. Now
Do they
they even
ask what
they
happened
even
to these
sing
people?
sing with it that if you don't drive whatever Mercedes, waiting your nothing. How can we get out of this mess? This is indeed a mess in all strata, in the
I'm,
governmental area, in
I'm sure
everything.
when you were in Germany, some people might have walked up to you to say, "Hey, you don't behave like Nigerians." I'm sure you must have heard that. Is that a compliment? That's an insult.
Exactly.
Like
I
somebody
had
telling
that
you, "Oh, you don't
exactly
behave
what
like a criminal."
exactly an argument I had with a German that once said you are different. I said
I'm not different.
you're not it's no compliment. I don't know how. I mean, it gets me angry. Just like when they say, well, you speak good German, I'm like, why? But every other person, and you understand. So it's
Hmm.
but to them it appears they are making a compliment to you,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not. It's actually
I know.
condescending. That's the way I
Yeah,
look at it. It should be. I don't know. Maybe maybe we've been hiding, or many people that have been, maybe not been speaking up. Maybe it's time that let's add the voices to aggregate. Maybe it is the time because what is happening is really, really heart wrenching.
yeah.
You can look at a young graduate is looking at how to drive, not even working, but how to drive
What
big
about
car.
those in the university? You see people in first year, second year driving Benz. Their parents are not rich. These people are from poor families. So who gave them money to buy Benz? I think we are not doing enough. The government is not doing enough to really curb this mess. Parents are not doing enough to actually raise wonderful kids. The
And the
church is
gov-
not doing enough.
but equally, even the government is not doing anything actually, because when you look at it, how would an individual, a child, see someone who had nothing a couple of years back goes into politics, now moves with convoy, fleet of cars, running our parents off the road, cars bought with your own money? Isn't that madness?
Yeah,
And
but when you look at that, has that made you to, to do crime, to join crime? No. So I think this is one narrative we have sustained, and we need to deconstruct it. I've seen people, people when you make comments about, they say, so you see people defending Yahoo people by telling you, what about the government? In politics, we call it whataboutism. What about this person? What about this person? So now the person says, yes, I'm a criminal just because the other person is a criminal. You get the point? So we shouldn't sustain this narrative. We should face the government, say, the government, we are not doing well. We need to change this. But who are going to do this? Those criminals. So we are now raising people who are saying, well, the government can continue to stay while we steal from our magas. Don't blame us, blame the government. By the way, uh, let me say this, and I'm sure you will agree with me, that these criminals are not poor. Invictus Obi was never a poor man. Was he satisfied? No. So you see, so people who do this, they say, it's because of poverty. It's because of no job. When you did that and you got 10 million naira, what did you do with 10 million naira? You bought Benz. So it's not about poverty, right? You pop champagne on naked girls, right? That it's not about poverty. So it's about criminality. So if it's about poverty, probably I'm not advocating. I'm not saying, but then let us follow them through their own line of argument. You get a point? When you did that and you got like 10 million naira, 20 million naira, the question now is, what did you do with that?
what did you establish?
Exactly. So you see, you bought Benz, which means it has nothing to do with poverty. It's a lifestyle you've chosen. So this is my position. So let's not join them with that narrative. That narrative has been sustained, and now it justifies crime. Mr. A is a politician. He is stealing. Therefore, are you stealing from the government? No. You are breaking homes. You are breaking hearts. You are killing people. As I said, do they ever think about what happens to the people they have stolen from? Do they know that some of them commit suicide? They don't know that some of them got divorced, homes broken, because the wife found out that the husband was doing this kind of business. So we should not follow them through that line of argument. That's my position.
My brother, thank you once more. Thank you very much for coming. And as I know now in Japan, the time now will be early morning, and early morning for you. And here we are. It is very late, in Nigeria, in Osaka, Japan now. It's about 6:54 in the morning time.
Exactly.
So 6:54.
Yes.
Indeed, it has been a very wonderful conversation with you. Again, we can do our best in our own little way. Sometimes it would appear that the little good deeds that we do doesn't matter, but that doesn't mean we will give up.
Yeah.
Let's keep doing it. I told people, again, there are things while a student many years ago I couldn't do. I can't get myself doing it one now I'm on my own. Where as a student you had limited resources. We didn't study with. You guys are lucky you had the scholarship. My one was we will have to hustle in summer, send the money in Nigeria, get the money back again as a proof that they are sending money for you, but that's your money anyway. And sometimes you might be lucky, which has happened to me a couple of times. That money goes in Nigeria, and somebody tells you stories. The money doesn't come back. So, and these are close, quote unquote, family members that ought to understand what you're going through. But be that as it may, it has nothing justifies crime.
Yes.
Again, many people on the chat line has been still been questioning why you didn't take that 10%. And thinking about it, 10%, that is law, that is legal. So I still, so why didn't you take the 10%? That would be my concluding question.
Yeah, that it is legal does not make it right. Okay, it is legal that if, for instance, it's legal that when I get the money, I should take the 10%. But that does not make it right.
Okay. Does did the man who lost that wallet, did he make you any offers?
I'm sure he knew I wouldn't have taken it because we had a conversation, and I was trying to push it aside. The only offer he has made, which I have accepted, is that we will have dinner. Okay, and then yeah, that one I accepted.
So what you have to do when you have dinner with him, I want to be obliged to have a video call with you guys.
Okay, but his English is not fantastic, but you can manage.
No, it doesn't matter. I can equally, I speak Japanese when I'm drunk. I did have some Japanese classmates anyway. Obviously, we are all foreigners. So the funny thing is, if you ever study in a foreign country, suddenly everybody water finds its level. Everybody is foreigner. So, and we began to develop some brotherhood and sisterhood because obviously we are now being seen as foreigners and being treated as foreigners, irrespective of where you came from. So, so let me know. I would, like I said, honestly, I want to know, and if possible, just a very quick, your dinner, whatever. These days dinner can be arranged. A friend of mine lost their grandmom, and they had to do the burial via Zoom because they couldn't travel. So technology makes it, here you are sitting in your house in Japan, conversing with me here. That's 8 hours difference. And the world is watching. We have a lot of people tuning in from Australia. People who basically it is their early Sunday now, I think. And and some people I equally have a couple of hours back as well. So it's been a wonderful conversation with you,
Thank you so much.
Ikenna, my brother. And that's, obviously we will keep in touch. And one thing I can say to you in conclusion is, you've done fantastically well. Please keep the flag flying.
Thank you so much.
Keep the flag flying. As they say in the Holy Book, you cannot light the candle and put it under the bed. It has to stand up. And because that candle has to be on top of that table, that's why we are having this conversation.
Yes.
Because that narrative that has been dwarfed for so long must be heard. On that note, I will say good evening once more, and thank you once more for joining me. I am still Maazi Ezeoke, now signing off.